Hi, today I'm gonna show you how to adjust the sizes on grandma slippers. Let's get started. I uploaded already how to knit this grandma slippers, and today I want to talk about a little bit more detail how to adjust the sizes. And please check my description box for any details such as yarn, needle, and written pattern. This is for 3-year old. I don't have a 3-year old kid. So if you're knitting somebody you're not living with, you need the pattern like this. You can ask them to draw along their foot, or you can ask them to measure two places, the longest part and widest part. And I Google it because I don't have a 3-year old friend, and it says about 6 inch and 2.5 inch wide. So I draw the map for myself. So you have to knit according to this map. And this is what I did. Looks quite small, smaller than, your pattern. But the kids, especially, they don't want to wear too loose slippers because it's kind of dangerous, right? So you have to use your imagination. It has to be right size when they wear them. So you just have to stretch them out like that while you're knitting. And you might want to take the gauge. All right. And I am going to knit from the heel side towards to the toe. Just knit the rectangle pretty much, and then fold it in half and sew them on top of the foot like that. Also the heel part. So it's very simple slippers. I think most difficult part is the fine right number for cast on. That's about it. And again, you should take gauges. You know, you need the number which is 2.5 inch, the wideness, because it has to be wide enough for your feet, right? So 2.5, that's only for the bottom part, and you have top part to cover as well. So you need about 5 inches total. So you have to take a gauge and make sure how many stitches in that 5 inch length. And whenever you count the stitches, you kind of want to stretch them out a little bit. Otherwise, it's going to be too loose. All right? So let's get started. Cast on. I'm going to use the thumb cast and multiple of 4. And one block should be group of 4 stitch. With pink, I'm making 4 stitch right there. And then change the color. I'm going to use brown so it's easy to see the contrast. So slip knot, you count 1 stitch, then second, third, and fourth. And change the color. Take the pink yarn from behind of the brown, then full cast. And you just have to do this until your desired, the cast number. For me, 32 stitches total. So you have to repeat pink 4, brown 4 That doesn't mean you have to finish with brown 4. No, you can add another 4 as long as multiple of 4 stitch, completely fine. Knitting part is easy. The most difficult part is resting yarn, and I will talk about it later. And once you get used to it, this is nothing to worry about. By the way, I have to tell you the truth. I didn't take the gauge because I know once I start knitting, it's going to be 1.2 or 1.5 times bigger. So this is what I did. I measure every once in a while, and this was 3, and I need 5-inch. So I decide I am going to add a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? And add 4 more stitch. Doesn't reach 5-inch, but again, once I start knitting, it's gonna get longer because this is too tight for the cast, right? So 3.5 and 1.5 longer, it's gonna be 5 inches. I knew it. That's why I stopped right there. But if you are not experienced and you're not sure, take a gauge. That's my recommendation. So my casting is done. Let's jump into row number 1. Row number 1, this is wrong side, and the other side, right side. And this is very important for this project. You're facing to which side? Now, wrong side. Row number 1, on it with previous color, which is starting with brown. And at the very beginning, you have to twist 2 yarn like that. This is important too. Don't ask me why. You will know why. Okay? Then start knitting with previous color, which means now brown. So use brown yarn, which means you just knit 4 stitch with brown, then you change the color. And right now, the pink, I'm not using pink color, which is resting. Okay, so resting yarn means you're not using that color. Now I just finished with my brown, and brown should be at on the wrong side for resting, because if you let the brown yarn like that, after the pink, you have to start knitting with brown, but brown yarn lay right on the right side of the pink, showing off, which I don't want that. So the resting yarn should be at wrong side, always. That's why you have to know which side you're facing to. And then now, pink yarn. If you go cross the brown yarn, the right side of the brown yarn doesn't look too good. So you gotta come around and then start knitting. If you're not sure, after you start knitting 1 or 2 stitch, look only at the right side and make sure the resting yarn is showing off on the right side of the project. If you don't understand right now, I'll show you. So don't worry about it. You will get this. Okay, so now I'm knitting with pink. The brown yarn is resting on the side of the wrong side. There we go. And now pink is done. So pink yarn over and rest in position. Then now brown. Just think Resting yarn has to be on wrong side. That's about it. And now brown at wrong side and start using pink. I'm just checking to make sure. Sometimes I don't think about anything when I'm knitting, especially easy knitting like this, but you should check right side every once in a while because again, it's too easy. I don't think or I watch TV or something when I'm knitting, and after a little while when I check right side, oh my goodness, there's lots of resting yarn showing on right side. You don't want to have that mistake. So I just finished the pink at wrong side, and now using brown. So yarn over, then start. And here comes end of row number 1. There we go. And after you finish, you're knitting flat, so you turn the work and then look at the two yarns all tangled. This is the time you untangle because you keep changing this side that side, so those two yarn kind of tangle. Anyway, row number 2. Now you're facing to right side, which means resting yarn should be at the back, which is wrong side. And this is all purl stitch you're using with previous color. And at the very beginning, you still have to twist 2 yarn so it stays there more stable. That's the reason why you twist. After that, you don't really have to worry about, but at the very beginning, it's a little bit tricky, so you really have to watch. Now, again, purl stitch with previous color, so knit with pink first. After you finish with pink, the pink yarn should be in the resting position, which is at the back. Here comes. And then grab the brown yarn and not come across the front because that's the right side. So you gotta go behind and come out front. You gotta be very careful at the very beginning. And rest of them are easy. You just have to still have to be careful at the resting position. That's about it. Here comes. Brown is done, so put it at the back and then grab the pink, come front, then start knitting, which is purl stitch. And if you're not sure, just check out front. Make sure you're doing okay. End of the pink. Now pink goes at the back, which is wrong side, and then grab the brown yarn and come out front, then make purl stitch. That's about it. And see you at row number 3. Just finish row number 2 and I add marker if you're looking at the marker, which means right side. So now, wrong side. Well, it's obvious because there's lots of resting yarn you can see. So easy, but make sure about it. Rule number 3, wrong side. All knit with previous color and resting yarn at the front, which is wrong side. And probably I don't have to explain, but twist the yarn at the very beginning, knit with brown because with previous color, so brown. And then now come out front and then grab the pink yarn, go front and back like that. So the working yarn showing on the wrong side. After this, you can knit this by yourself. I'll see you at row number 4. It's a little bit different, but super easy. Row number 4, right side. All knit with different color. So pink stitch, you're knitting with brown yarn. That's it. And then resting yarn should be at the back because you're facing to right side. And still twist at the very beginning, super straightforward, just a different color. So if it's pink stitch on the left needle, you're using brown yarn. And this time, knitting technique, which means working yarn should be at the back and then resting yarn should be at the back. So it's super easy. You don't really have to, you know, go back and forth, nothing. Super easy. And that's pretty much it. You just have to repeat row number 1 to row number 4 until your desired length. And you have to stop after row number 3. And I will talk about it later. I just finished row number 4. As you can see, the color changes, creates the checker, right? And now put the project on the map, and it's about 5 inch. Again, I didn't take the gauge, but I knew it's gonna get longer, so this is perfect for me. Anyway, perfect size for the whiteness. And this is actually for heel as well. So you fold it in half like that, and that's the height of the your heel. There you go. That's the way it goes. Okay, so about the 2.5 inch. And again, you repeat row number 1 to row number 4 until close to desired length, and you have to stop right on the row number 3, and you're knitting from heel to toe. And whenever you reach the, you know, toe part, you have to finish, but it's really up to you when to stop because if you want to knit the loose, slipper, you better knit the cover of your toe. But if you want to knit kind of fit slipper for, kids, maybe you should stop way before, and I'll talk about it, soon. Again, this is knit, it will stretch. So you have to think about that stretch part as well. I repeated total of seven, and then eighth time I finish on row number three. Then back part, you can see all the resting yarn that creates thickness, and this is the reason why this slipper is so warm. Anyway, I just finished row number three, and this is long enough. And let's see on the map. So at the very bottom is the heel part. So located on right on the heel. And then look at the map. It's actually quite short. But again, I told you earlier, this is stretchy. So if you really want to knit fit size, not the loose slipper, you have to stretch them out a bit, and then you decide when to stop. So I'm a right hand, so I flip and pull up slowly like that. And that's actually perfect for me. After this, I will knit two rows. So after I knit two more rows, should be cover their toes. That's how you figured it out when to stop. In other words, if you want to knit loose slipper, you can add more cast and you can knit more longer to cover your toe completely. But for me, this time only for 3-year old, kid slipper, and I don't want to make too big, so I am going to stop right now and start decreasing. And again, decreasing row only 2 rows. Decreasing row number one, right side, and this has to be row number four. So knit two together only with different color. So now you're looking at the brown stitch, so using pink. So repeat off, knit two together across. Repeat off, knit two together with different color. And this supposed to be row number four. So again, resting yarn is at the back. And you don't really have to think, oh, this is supposed to be row number four. You don't really worry about that. Just follow my written instruction. Decreasing row number two, wrong side. And you still have to be very careful with the resting yarn. Resting yarn supposed to be at wrong side, in this case at front, and then again knit two together, repeat off knit two together with previous color now. So brown stitch, brown yarn, pink stitch, pink yarn. That's about it. And this decreasing rows will be the tip of the toe. So you just have to, decrease 2 rows, and then you finish. Again, this is super easy, fun to knit, great gift idea for winter season, especially a Christmas gift or whatever. And for the kids, I strongly recommend it to put some non-slip tape at the bottom of the slipper. So, it's a little bit better. And I bought the Fentex yarn, which supposed to be not too slippery, but I haven't actually used them yet. Anyway, so decrease row number 2 has done. So cut the tail end, then just sew them around. Now, perfect length. Here comes with the tapestry needle. Go through every single stitch. An important thing is has to be right side together when you sew them. There you go. Also, you have to leave some opening for feet. You have to, put your feet in, right? So opening should be not too small or not too big. And I am actually sewing from the tip of the toe and make sure the alignment is good. There's the block, right? The group of 4 stitch. So you kind of have to, matches the alignment and make sure you have to plan first. If you need, you can use the clip to secure them. Now I have to sew heel part. Find the corner and I tied a knot, then start sewing. Again, if this is for the 6-year-old kid or 10-year-old kid or even 20-year-old kid, you need some kind of the measurement. The best way is ask them to draw along their foot to make their foot pattern. And if it's not possible, ask them to measure the longest part and widest part. And then you draw kind of, the foot map for yourself. Then, start from there. The cast should be the cover, the widest part, the bottom and top. That's about it. The cast should be for the height of the heel as well. So if it's too high, it looks like a boot. But, it's really up to their foot. Now it's all done. There you go. Make sure it's all sewed together. Now turn the work inside out. There we go. So cute. Now let's check the sizes. Again, looks a little bit small, but you have to stretch them out, right? See, it's quite small, but once they put the feet in, it will stretch. There you go. That's 6 inch and cover 2.5 wide. This is the perfect size. Don't you think? Finishing size is about 5.5 inch, but again, it will stretch once they wear it. And height is 2 to 2.5 inch. That's about it for today. If you have any questions, let me know. Enjoy knitting!